Hi, 7th grade. Today we are going to learn about pedigrees. And essentially what pedigrees are is they are a family tree for your traits. So to start, we're just going to take a look at some fun family trees that some of you might know about. If you're into Star Wars, this family tree might look familiar to you. You can see that there are different generations, different lines connecting families. You can tell where siblings are, things like that. Another one we have here is Harry Potter. So if you're into Harry Potter, this probably makes sense to you, but if you're not into Harry Potter, it probably just looks like a bunch of people. But we're going to learn how to read these, but in a much simpler way. So to start, we need to talk about how to read a pedigree. A pedigree can be for any family. It could be dogs, cats, humans. And what it does is it shows a pattern of inheritance for one specific trait. So when you look at a pedigree, it's just for one trait. Males are shown as squares and females are shown as circles. The first thing that you will notice in a pedigree is the different generations. And the generations are shown with a Roman numeral next to them. So you can see right here, there's Roman numeral 1. That indicates that this is the first generation, and Roman numeral 2, the second generation. Each person in the generation is numbered. And when you have siblings, so these are siblings because they're in a children line right here. The siblings are from oldest on this side to youngest over here. And then you'll notice that these two are shaded in. That means that they have the trait, whatever trait we're talking about. So right here, we know that individual 1, so generation 1, person 1, is a male because it's a square and shows the trait because it's shaded in. We know that his daughter, his oldest child, 2-1, also has the trait. We know it's a daughter because it is a circle. And then 2 sons, 2-2 and 2-3, do not show the trait. And we know that because they are not shaded in. Okay, I'm going to have you grab a sheet of paper and a pencil. And you're going to answer these questions as we go through this. After I read the questions, go ahead and pause the video. You can answer the questions, and then on the next slide, we'll look at the answers. So the first one, who is Sam's mom? Sam's right here. How many brothers does Aubrey have? Who is Laura married to? And who is Amber's mom? Okay, so go ahead, pause the video, answer those. All right, so Laura is Sam's mom. Aubrey has 1 brother, and it's Jacob. Laura is married to Mike right here, and Amber's mom is Susan. Okay, 4 more questions. After I read these, go ahead and pause the video, fill out your answers, and then check them after. So are Sarah, here's Sarah, and Aubrey, are they related by blood? How many brothers and sisters does Susan have? Is Sarah Amber's cousin? And are Sam and Bob brothers? So go ahead and pause the video. So Sarah and Aubrey are not related by blood. Their siblings, Susan and Jacob, are married, so they are in-laws. Susan has 3 siblings, 2 brothers, Sam and Bob, and 1 sister. Is Sarah's Amber's cousin? No, Sarah is Amber's aunt. And then yes, Sam and Bob are brothers. All right, 4 more questions. Is Mike Jacob's dad? Here's Mike. Is Katie, right here, Chris's grandma? How many aunts do Chris and Amber have? And what shape represents a female? What shape represents a male? Go ahead and pause the video and answer the questions. So Mike is not Jacob's dad. David is Jacob's dad. Mike is Jacob's father-in-law. Katie is Chris's grandma. Chris's other grandma is Laura. Chris and Amber have 2 aunts, Sarah and Aubrey are their aunts. And a female is represented by a circle, and a male is represented by a square. Okay, so hopefully after these couple exercises, you've gotten the hang of how to read a pedigree. We are now going to practice filling out the pedigree and what that means for genetics. So what I would like you to do right now is I would like you to copy down this pedigree. We're going to use this for the next couple of slides. So go ahead and pause this, copy it down just how it's shown, and then you can start up again and we will answer some questions. So now that you've drawn this, the first thing I would like you to do is number the generations and then each person in the generations. So at the end, each one of these will have a number and all the generations will be numbered. So go ahead and pause that and do that. Does yours look like this? You should have generations 1, 2, 3, and 4, and then all of these should be numbered. So starting over on the left, working your way to the right. Same there, same there, same there. Okay, the next question. In this family, how many individuals show the trait? So go ahead and look. If you need to pause it, and then write down your answer. The answer is 6, and we're looking at the shaded in ones for the trait. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And then the last question, which male show the trait? Be sure to give the generation and the number. So go ahead and pause that as you answer. Did you get these 4? Generation 2, number 5. Generation 3, number 2. Generation 3, number 3. And Generation 4, number 1. Okay. Now, you can definitely do more with the pedigrees, and we're going to incorporate some of our vocabulary words from earlier in our genetics unit into the pedigrees. So, we're going to determine the genotypes, okay? So, the shaded in individuals in pedigrees have the recessive trait. So, in this pedigree, we're going to look at feet, okay? And it is dominant to have normal feet. It is recessive to have webbed feet. Okay, so since the shaded ones show the trait, all of the shaded ones are recessive. And we know that recessive is 2 lowercase letters. So what I would like you to start with is just right underneath or inside of it, whatever you guys want to do, I would like you to add the recessive trait to the shaded in ones. So it would look like that. The next step that you're going to do, all of these unshaded ones, okay, we know that they have the dominant trait because they're unshaded. So they have at least one dominant gene. Okay, but like we've learned about, each person has 2 alleles, right? So you need 2 letters. So our job is going to be to figure out what letter goes after this capital. Is it another capital or is it a lowercase? Those are the 2 options. So we're going to take a look at that. Okay. There's 2 ways to do this. You can either start at the very top or at the very bottom. So we're going to start at the very bottom, looking at generation 4, number 1 and his parents. So we're going to look at this family right here. Okay. So in order for these 2 parents to have a child that has lowercase, that means that they each have to have a lowercase to give. If either one of these had a capital, then they would give that capital to this child. So we know that they both need to be heterozygous. Okay, so I'm going to repeat that one more time. The reason why they are heterozygous is because they have a child who shows the recessive trait. In order for this child to have 2 lowercase n's, a lowercase n needed to come from this parent, and a lowercase n needed to come from this parent. Both of these parents need a capital N because they do not show the trait. Okay, so we have those 2 done. Now let's move on and do these ones over here. Save this one for the last. This one's going to be a little tricky, but go ahead and see if you can figure out how to do these other ones. I'll give you a hint, okay? Just like with this family right here, if the individual has a child that has the trait, so a child that has two lowercase, they have to have a lowercase. Also, if the individual has a parent that has two lowercase, they also will have a lowercase. Okay, so with that hint in mind, go ahead and fill this out, pause it, and when you are done, you can play it again. Okay, so let's take a look at this one right here. Okay, this is the next one. The reason why it is a lowercase n is twofold. First one is it has a child with two lowercase, and it has a parent with a lowercase. Okay, our next one, we'll look at 1 up here, and this one's kind of going all over the place. Ask yourself, does this one have any children with two lowercase? Okay, and so here's a child, here's a child, and here's a child. If any of those are recessive, it has to be that. Okay, so that means the rest are also two lowercase, right? Because this one has a parent and a child. This one has a parent. This one has a parent. Okay, now we're left with this one down here. Okay, and this one gets a little tricky. So what you are going to have to do, so you're going to have to do a Punnett square, okay, because neither of the parents have the trait, and it doesn't show any children yet. So you're going to have to do a Punnett square of these two. So go ahead and draw a Punnett square with two heterozygous individuals. Pause this, and when you're done with a Punnett square, you can play. Okay, what did you come up with? There should be two options for capital N. So it's either capital N, or capital N, lowercase n. And you'll write both of those down for this one. Okay, so again, after you do the Punnett square, you get two options, capital or capital lowercase. You'll put both of them there because we're not sure. Okay, so now we need to decide, so we've determined the genotype, now determining the phenotype. Lot easier, okay? All you have to do is look if it's shaded in or if it's not, okay? The trait that's being expressed is shown as shaded in. The trait is almost always recessive. So in this case, we know that these two have the trait, whatever it may be. These three don't. Okay, here are some step-by-step just directions. We've already gone through all of this, but just so you have it all in one place. First thing you're going to do is label the generations with Roman numerals. Second, label the person with numbers left to right. All shaded are homozygous recessive, so you'll label those with two lowercase. For all unshaded people, you're going to add one capital letter, and then you need to decide what the second letter is. So you'll look at their parents or their kids. If they have the trait, either a parent or a child, they're heterozygous. If not, you probably can't determine their genotype, so you would put capital / capital lowercase. Okay, here's what I'm going to have you do. We have a couple slides of practice for you. Okay, so you can go ahead and pause this when I'm done with the directions, and then we'll go through the answers. So first thing you need to do again, fill out the numbers. Then you're going to use and fill out the genotypes under each person. So where these go. Then you're going to, and use the letter J, please. And then answer these questions. How many people have the trait? How many kids do the couple in row 1 have? How many grandkids do they have? And who is generation 2, number 4? Okay, so you'll need to draw this out, number it, do the genotypes, answer these questions. Go ahead and pause it, and then play it once you have picked up. All right, so once you have done that, we're just going to go through the genotypes real quick. Okay, you should have labeled 1, 2, 3, and then labeled all those numbers. Okay, so genotypes, first thing you're going to do are the recessive. Okay, so I just labeled all 3 of those recessive. Then for the other 4, we're going to start with a capital. Okay, then we need to decide which ones have capital letters, which ones have lowercase letters next to them. So we're going to use the rule. If they have a parent or a child that has 2 lowercase, then they also will have a lowercase. So starting with these 2 parents, right? They have a child with lowercase, so they both have lowercase. Okay, moving on. This one right here has a parent, 2 lowercase. And then lastly, this one has a child with 2 lowercase. Okay. Oh, then these questions. How many people have the trait? There are 3 people that have the trait. 1, 2, 3. How many kids do the couple in row 1 have? They have 3. 1, 2, 3. They have 1 grandchild. And this person right here, generation 2, number 4, is the wife of the youngest son. So this person's wife. So these 3 are siblings. This is a wife. Okay? All right. So if you have questions, you need to email me. Also on Google Classroom, you will see that there are extra worksheets if you need practice. There'll be some for sex-linked traits. There'll be some for pedigrees. So if you need to use those, you can, but it is not homework. Okay. Right now, the tentative plan is to have the genetics assessment on Wednesday. Okay. It may get moved up to Tuesday, but for now, plan on it being Wednesday. Again, if you have questions, please email me. Otherwise, great job today and have a great weekend.